Hello and welcome to Victoria's Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Hasbro Star Wars The Vintage Collection Saelt-Marae, also known as Yak Face. So a very exciting figure to add to the collection. I had to get mine through Hasbro Pulse. I pre-ordered it a while back. It finally came in, and I finally have the figure in my collection because it's a very popular one. In fact, it's probably the most popular one out of this latest wave of the vintage collection. And it's no secret why. It's been a very long time since we've gotten a new Yak Face figure, and he is sorely overdue. And he is looking better than ever, not just in terms of aesthetics of the figure, but also in terms of the overall package. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So for those who know, the Yak Face figure back in the vintage days never actually appeared on this card back. It came out in the Power of the Force line in 1985, but was only available in Canada as far as I know. And therefore is a very rare figure, and package samples of that figure are extremely prohibitively expensive. It's really quite insane. At the back, you get a look at other figures in the vintage collection, and just a little bit of information there about celebrating 3 3/4 inch Star Wars. Nothing terribly exciting, but yeah, I mean, the main thing is this card back is just really, really nice. I think it looks really good with the red, and really cool photo there of Yak Face from Return of the Jedi aboard the sail barge, where this figure is going to be ending up very soon after this review. Here's a quick comparison between the two unique card backs offered in this updated Yak Face figure. So on the right, you have the version that was packed with Jabba's sail barge, the Cantina. We did a review of that amazing vehicle. It's one of the greatest Star Wars products ever created. Highly recommend you check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, they included this unique Yak Face figure that is a recreation in terms of the packaging of the 1985 Power of the Force Yak Face. So it was a really cool thing for them to pack in here. I'm not opening that one up. The only difference between the two, I believe, is that you get a drinking glass with the exclusive version. And of course, the really cool coin that they packed in with the sail barge version of Yak Face. Alright, so here is Saelt-Marae out of the packaging, and this is an absolutely exquisite looking figure. I mean, the detail on this thing is absolutely incredible. And I don't even need to pick up the figure and, go through the articulation and all that to know that. I mean, you just look at it from a distance even, and it looks like something special. And truth be told, it's not very often that we get something truly special in 3 3/4 inch anymore. I love what Hasbro did with the recent Claw 2 figure, which we also reviewed. But for the most part, 3 3/4 inch super articulated figures have kind of fallen by the wayside for a long time. But now that the vintage collection is back, and now that Hasbro is really getting things into gear with the vintage collection, it's been looking up lately, so I'm really optimistic for the future. The figure itself has a very nice silhouette. You can see that the proportions of it look very nice. Of course, in the film, this was just an actor in a suit, so it definitely looks like an oversized mask that the actor would have worn, because the rest of the proportions are pretty human-like. It's actually a little bit creepy. So just scope out those details on the head. I mean, that is a tremendously beautiful sculpt. And it truly is a special figure. The last one that Hasbro did was in, I believe it was 1997 or maybe 1998, the Power of the Force line, Power of the Force 2, where they redid Yak Face, but it just looked really weird. And we'll do comparison in a little bit because I still have that figure. But I never owned the vintage figure, but they did a really good job recreating the vintage figure and the costume from Return of the Jedi. The original vintage figure looked better than the Power of the Force 2 version, in my opinion. And this looks like a very nice throwback, not only to that figure, but also to Yak Face as he appears in Return of the Jedi. And you can see him in Jabba's palace as well as on the sail barge. But yeah, that's a beautiful head sculpt. Like I said, it looks like a yak, hence the name Yak Face. I'm really digging it. I'm really digging it. It's just such a fun design. And the eyes are very nicely painted black and glossy. The nose is a little bit extra glossy than the rest of the face. You do see a little bit of shading beneath the eyes, and even above the eyes, there's a little bit of shadowing going on there. Ears look great. The whiskers look awesome. Oh, yeah, oh man, it's pretty amazing. Look at the detail here on his shirt. He's got kind of this furry looking shirt that he's wearing. That is very, very nicely done. It's very detailed. And same with the arms. You get this blue shirt that he's wearing, and The arms look very nice. They're very nicely washed. And I think we should call these hands hooves. They look more like hooves than like hands. But you can see he's got 3 fingers. He's got a thumb and then 2 fingers. And there's a sash or a belt going around the midsection. And then he's got blue pants that also seem to match the sleeves that he has up here. A little bit more fur detailing around the top of the boots, and the boots themselves look pretty nice. So you also get the soft goods sort of like a robe or jacket that he's wearing. And that is just placed underneath this furry piece up here, which is part of the torso. It's all one piece. So it looks really good. They could have done plastic, but you know what? I think they did a good job with the mixed media in this case. So for articulation, you do get a ball joint at the top of the head. You can see that that rotates, goes up and down a little bit independently of the neck. That's a separate joint. So you're going to be able to get a really nice range of movement with Yak Face. Here at the shoulders, ball hinging, so they rotate. You can bend them forward, any which way you choose, really. Same thing at the elbows. You can bend them way more than 90 degrees. That's like pretty incredible, especially for a 3 3/4 inch guy. Here at the wrists, you can see that the left one goes forward and back. That is a very nice range of movement. You can spin it. And then the right one's actually going to go up and it's going to go down. You can rotate it too. Here at the torso, there is a ball hinge, so you get some nice movement there. Here at the hips, you can do a full split with Yak Face, thanks to those insert molded joints. He does go... These are the kind that you kind of have to rotate there at the hip to get him to go all the way forward, but you can do that and you see it does go all the way. He's also got a cut right below the hip on the thigh, which will also help with posability. And then at the knees, you do have ball joints as well. So again, way more than 90 degrees. So that is very, very nice. And for the ankles, they bend down, they bend up. You can rotate them. They're not on pivots, so that's the only thing that it doesn't really have. But I mean, I don't think it's really necessary. It seems to balance pretty well, and it seems like you get everything you need in terms of all the points of articulation. Saelt-Marae also comes with a staff. This is a very nice looking staff. You can see that it has kind of a bronzish look at the bottom, and then it gets more to this gray color. It's beautifully sculpted. It's beautifully painted. I love it. The figure holds the staff very nicely. You can pose him in a variety of ways. But you know, he does hold it. So it's a very important box we're going to be able to check off of our list here. Here's a comparison of the Vintage Collection Yak Face along with the Power of the Force 2 Yak Face. Guys, it's night and day. I really don't need to talk a lot about the differences here. I mean, it's very obvious. For its time, the 90s Yak Face was okay, but like I said, I don't think it was quite as good as the vintage figure, which was kind of odd. But then again, a lot of things with the Power of the Force 2 line were weird. And if you go back and listen to the Cantina Chatter podcast, of course, we're doing that retrospective of every single modern Star Wars toy line going all the way back to 1995. And yeah, I mean, just a lot of weird things happened during that era with Star Wars action figures. So thankfully, we have this new version 20 years later to replace that Yak Face. And it's going to be the definitive Yak Face in the collection. No doubt about that. And here is Yak Face finally at home in the sail barge. I've been saving this little open spot right here for when I got my Yak Face figure. Now that he's here, he is taking up shop exactly where he belongs amongst the rest of Jabba's palace denizens and amongst Jabba the Hutt himself. All right, my friends, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars The Vintage Collection, number 132, Saelt-Marae. Overall, you guys, Hasbro deserves a round of applause for this one. This is one of those figures that is an absolute hit, top to bottom. I really have nothing I can say negatively about this figure. It's missing the rocker ankles. You know what? I don't care. It's as close to perfect as you're going to get in the 3 3/4 inch line. He's beautiful. He interacts perfectly with his accessory, and I just can't get over how detailed he is and how well the articulation works. I mean, those bends at the elbows and the knees past 90 degrees, the range of motion in the head and neck. I mean, it's all there. Everything you could possibly want with a Yak Face. It's all there. I just hope they do this figure in 6 inch because I know it would be absolutely glorious if they did. Go out and get it, even if you don't normally collect 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figures. This is a special figure. I think anybody that really appreciates greatly made toys needs to add Yak Face to their collection because it's just mind-blowingly good. Alright my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts about this Yak Face figure down below. Have you been able to find it? Will you be adding it to your collection? I think you should. Be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, subscribe to Cantina Chatter Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, yada yada yada. Stay tuned for more Star Wars action figure goodness coming your way. As always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.